Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Ani. Good morning, friends. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You know, it's really hard for me to not sing the song. I'm going to be honest with you. It's real hard. Good morning, good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning to you. I also just saw that one of my best friends just joined, and she's probably like, I don't know why I hang out with this person. It's a classic musical. Okay, everyone, relax. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Yes, Ani, I'm so glad you caught this morning. For those of you that are popping in, thank you for those snaps. Thank you so much for that just off-key rendition. Yes, take a part of this walk for me because I'm at work. Yes, I just took my walk. It was a little cold this morning, so I'm inside. I'm bundled up. Yes, thank you, Annie, my fellow musical theater friend. Actually, I should work on genuinely learning to sing that correctly and come to this space. Good morning. This is not about musical theater, but isn't all of life musical theater, if we're being honest? My name is Rachel LaForce. If you're here for the first time, I'm so honored if you're catching this, if you're popping in. My name is Rachel. I'm a comedian. I'm a creative producer. I'm a podcaster. I'm an intuitive. I'm a spiritual speaker. And here's what I call gratitude walks every Monday morning. Most every Monday morning, I make sure to do a little walk, clear my head, clear my body, and just clear out all the junk from the week before, what I don't need, and really get clear on what's coming up for me. I'm sure, like me, you have a very busy life, and you have children, or you're putting money in your bank account, or you're, building a business, or you're creative, or you're, right, wherever you are, that life moves very fast, it moves very quickly, and a lot of times it feels like it waits for no one. And so taking a moment like these mornings to slow down, that's super helpful. Dominican in France, and love listening last week, your gratitude walk. What are we preaching on today? Okay, first of all, I love this prompt. Hello. I love it so much. We're talking about mistakes today. We're talking about mistakes. And here is why. Because Mama has made a few recently. And, sometimes it's like the bigger the stakes, the bigger it feels like these mistakes are. There's been a few times that my character has been called into question, which is a little empath, can I tell you, is so terrifying and just triggers every part of me. Hello for the Netherlands. Yes, hello. And so, the day that my character was called into question, there's another big, Tabitha, what's Tabby's last name? Oh, anyway, she's phenomenal. I'll tag her in the comments. With her 5 million following, and she's so lovely. And she popped on and she was like, I just want to remind you guys, don't allow someone without character to question yours and to take you out of yours. It was something like that, but cleaner. The whole point being someone without character, don't allow them to take you out of yours. And what does that mean? And how do we hold our integrity? How do we hold our integrity when we make mistakes? How can we allow ourselves to make mistakes? I was thinking about where it's when you call yourself an expert of something, then it's well, surely you must know everything. And it's that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. If there was anybody who came to me and they're well, I know everything there is to know about this thing, I'd be I don't trust you at all. You know what I mean? Not a fiber of my being am I oh yeah, you know what's up, right? I come on here so raw after my walk, I literally have sleep in my eye. Sun's up in Texas. I love it. Good morning. So, right, let me reiterate that again. This idea that even if you are this expert in this thing, or it's the only thing you've ever done, or it's what your whole platform is about, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes because hopefully that means that you're growing, that you're doing new things, and you don't actually have the answers to everything. You don't know how to do everything. And that doesn't take away from any of your experience. And I think that's such an internal thing. Like, what would it be like? Like, to me, that is such a power source, right? I talk all about empowerment. I talk about, how do we like grow, roots within ourselves? And that's so much of it. How can somebody call your character into question and you're able just to stay in it, right? Because we know. And if there was an error, if there was something that you overstepped, how can we quickly and efficiently apologize and rebound or fix? There's a different word. It hasn't dropped down in for me yet. But what would that be like? Good morning to all of my friends. Good morning here from Atlanta, Georgia. And what would that be like? And, it's like, let's even go bigger. Let's look at cancel culture, where it's like, even if somebody makes a mistake or they made a mistake in 1996, and I'm not talking egregious things, but I'm just talking like not having the knowledge of how we live and operate now in 2023. And now they're, being hung on the metaphorical social media cross. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's always that fear too, that all of us are like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing, or I don't want to make a mistake. And that's even why so many people that I work with are scared to create platforms for themselves or go bigger, because of all of these fears of, what if I make a mistake? Yes, talk about the grounding and bouncing through failure and mistake. Amen. So that's what we're talking about, where I was like, man, I'm felt real flippy floppy this week, where I'm like, how many more of these can I do? Because this is getting embarrassing. And it's not that it's embarrassing, it's that it's humbling. And I think that's so important, of like, how can we sit with the uncomfortability of knowing that we made a mistake? How can we sit with the uncomfortability of being like, man, I fucked that up? Because that's all it is. It's just uncomfortability. It's just like the animalistic shame in us of not wanting to be separated from the group. That's all it is. Like, you don't have to own all of it. You don't have to get on the shame train, party of one, and be like, doo, doo. Like, you don't need to go on a full American tour with your shame and embarrassment from one mistake. It's really okay. It's really okay. Right? And it's like, there was a few things this week, and, they were brought to my attention. And there was this part of me where like, oh, well, it actually wasn't fully a mistake, because I thought this thing was taken care of. And I felt like, I was like, oh, I should over-explain, right? Because there's also that thing of like, when we don't feel fully in our power, then we feel like we have to over-explain because, oh, surely you should know. And then if I over-explain, well, then you'll totally understand. And then, of course, you'll really like me, because you'll know, well, of course, that I was like really wanting to do. We don't need it. You know who else doesn't need it? Pretty much virtual strangers who don't know you. They don't need it. They don't need it. It's like, let me tell you what takes the power out. A 3-paragraph email about the mistake you made. They don't care. Most people don't, including the general public. Most people don't care. Okay? And he says, no wonder I happened to catch this live, fear of mistakes. Yes, exactly. Right? And so we allow this fear of what will happen if we make a mistake. We allow this fear to take over if my character's in like all of these things that don't exist yet. And so we sit in that rather than coming to the immediate, which is, let's just own it. Hey, I apologize. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. And how quickly can we fix it? Not asking the question for yourself and fixing it and keeping it moving. That's it. I mean, it's that simple. And if your character is being called into question, we've got emotion. Let's feel that emotion and separate it. And we're going to talk from facts. That's it. Hear what the facts are. Thanks for hearing from me. God bless Rachel LaForce. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, again, we don't have to go on, the Obama kiss and baby tour. Like, you don't have to try to become super likable and, oh, this is why it happened and this and that. And, oh, if you only knew. And we don't. We don't. Can I tell you, as all of, my work in Hollywood and then also working as a casting director and then also watching people live on stage and also, we know within 3 seconds. That is a scientific fact. Within 3 seconds, we have already made judgments about somebody that is determined whether they are in our tribe or not, meaning, are they for me or not? Within 3 seconds. No, yes, that's amenable and it can be changed and yada, yada. The point being where it's like, it's not your job. True character, true authenticity, true power is acknowledging when I step out, when I do big things, I'm doing it big so that the people who need me and the people who need to see it can find me, not so that everybody likes me. Do you understand? When I have to apologize for something, and apologizing, that's the other thing. It's like apologizing is just recognition. It's the recognition. And so it doesn't have to mean, every apology doesn't have to, again, be this thing of like, oh my God, if I only knew. And like, that's because the majority of us here watching are empaths. We feel it all. We want people to like us. And I don't have to tell you about you. Do you know what I mean? But I know you know. I see you. I know you know. Right? Yes, Annie. I'm so glad that you're with me on it, right? So just offering that up, clearly it's something that I'm still working through. I typically try to share things that I feel like I can give to you like in full, but this has just been coming up for me a lot this week. And if you're an astrology person, dare I say, also because Mercury is in retrograde, it's stationed direct earlier in the week. And for those of you who speak that language, you will understand why there were a few mistakes that Mama made this week that I was like, this is so on brand for Mercury. It's embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm embarrassed. So on brand. Yes, we got to hack it. Exactly right. And so just noting that if you are somebody that subscribes to that it's like, there's got to be a lot of this that comes up again. I always look at it as Mercury retrograde as this idea of kind of review, right? Like we get to review with the universe of like, okay, all right, let's do a little bookkeeping. How are we doing? All right, are we paying attention to these? Oh, mistake here. We weren't really paying attention. We didn't read between the lines. Like, what are we doing? Right? The same way of like you have a job, right? And you've got your yearly review, your monthly review, your quarterly review, pretty much with Mercury retrogrades. We typically have 2 to 4 in an astrological year. If you don't subscribe to astrology, does it matter all the difference? Let's pay attention to what are these mistakes. Let's pay attention to when these things are coming up. They're coming up for review. How are you feeling? Why are you feeling that way? Can we separate that and offer facts? Because again, it was such an interesting, what I loved about the opportunity of making some of the same mistakes that I've made before, but on a bigger scale. One of the other things that I liked about making mistakes that I didn't even know were possible. Those were always fun. We were like, I don't even know that could be a mistake. That's fun for me and everyone on a public forum, right? Part of that is it's like, oh, I'm now getting the opportunity to respond differently. I'm having the opportunity to allow what would feel like shame or make me want to run or that sticky feeling. And I'm allowing my body to respond in a different way. That's when it gets really fucking cool. That's when you're like, woo, feeling the tide turn, and I'm being able to offer myself and to other people something else. And the power that sits there. Same thing with my character being called into question and me being able very quickly and efficiently being able to be like, hey, I'm, little kindness up top because that's how we roll. And then facts of like, sorry, this hasn't hit you before, but this is always what's been the deal. And thanks so much for stopping by. And that's it. That's it. You don't ever, let's go back to musical theater. You don't owe everybody a 2-act review. Okay? You don't owe that to anybody. Even in fact, the people who you have genuinely emotionally hurt, and they do deserve that apology, or you stepped out and you said something out of line and your partner or your boss or whatever, and they deserve a heartfelt apology, even then, they just want to know that you hear them and you see them. That's why the direct apology is best. So far, this is amenable, you know what I mean? Human experience. But that's why it's so great. They don't need to hear about, a sincere, like, hey, I'm glad that you brought that to my attention. And I apologize. Not how I wanted this to go. And I appreciate the opportunity to apologize. Thank you so much. Boom. That's it. And then if that's not good enough for them, that's not good enough for the public, that's not good enough for the team that you're working with or whatever, cut them loose. Okay? The world is vast. So that's another thing, like we don't have to hold on to everyone because it's like, whoa, it's just that fear. And we don't make choices out of fear. We don't move out of fear. We don't do that anymore. So let's shift into that place of when we make those mistakes, when we feel those feelings, how can we let them land? How can we move them through our nervous system so that they can become a part of us, meaning that it's like, ooh, okay, that feels different. How do I want to show up and respond? And then the more that happens, and again, the bigger that the stakes get, and so those mistakes may come in faster and faster, it's also an opportunity to slow down. I find a lot of times my mistakes either come from I'm doing something new for the first time or I was going too fast. And going too fast is probably one that I will be working on for the rest of my life, right? Yes, apologize and move on. It's on them from that point. Amen. Thank you for saying that last part. It's on them from that point, right? Again, the bigger the stakes, all of these things, you've made the direct apology. Now how they want to talk about you or what they like about you or if they... So be it. So be it. And that's the tough thing, right? That's the thing that was tough for me earlier in the week with my character. And I'm like, LaForce, I know you want everybody to like you, girl. I know there's just that little girl in you that's just wanting everybody to be your friend on the playground. And you don't mean anyone any harm. I know that. But the world's going to see you how the world's going to see you. So we stay in our character. We stay in that place. And we keep it moving. All right, that's all I got for you this morning. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep saying the same thing over and over. That was a solid 15 minutes. I'm so incredibly proud of all of you because I know if you're here, I know you're doing the work myself. I know how daunting and scary and frightening and what a roller coaster of emotions that the work can be. And so I'm just so grateful to be a part of your process at all. Merci, of course. Have a beautiful day. Dominican in France. So much love, love. This is such a good, good talk this morning. Of course. Have beautiful, beautiful weeks. Go forth. Remember, shoulders back, chin steady, and we're getting through that week, right? Preach. It's just what I need to hear. I'm so grateful. To hear that. Absolutely. So again, I love all of you. My name is Rachel LaForce. I am Ani, you're so welcome. I am a comedian. I'm a podcaster, creative producer. I'm an intuitive and a spiritual speaker. I do live events all over. Tits up, baby. There we go. I love it. Loved all these and needed these reminders. Yes, of course, Annie. So good to connect with you. So I have live events all over Atlanta, Georgia. If you're nearby, I'm going on a little bit of a mini tour next year and doing some events all over. So lots coming up. I have a big initiative called the Misfit Light that will be launching in 2024. My podcast, The Rachel LaForce Show, which is a spiritual podcast from me, a comedian for people who are on a spiritual journey, whatever that means. And so offering all sorts of insights on comedy and culture and consciousness every week. Come to Omaha. All right. We'll write it on the list. We'll get it on the list. Yes. So lots coming up. I'm shooting a 30-minute comedy special this year. So it's going to be so much more kind of bodies of content and things for you to move through this week that I'm so excited. Coming to Nashville. Nashville's an easy one because that is nearby. So that's nice and easy. And I have so many notifications coming in on top, and Mama's 280. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, actually, DM me these places. Let me know. I'm going to be doing a catch-all in my stories. And so you can always pop there. Let me know what city you're in. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. I'll probably do a full... I'm writing a bigger show that I'm going to tour, and that will be toured in 2025, but we're going to be bouncing around to a lot of places next year. But again, in the meantime, I have a podcast that goes out weekly. It is season 3 will be wrapping in 2 weeks. We'll be on a little bit of a hiatus, but if you're new to the podcast, there are 3 full seasons, mostly outside of astrological episodes. It's all evergreen. It's all stuff you can circle back to. All of my favorite comedians, spiritual healers, practitioners, that somehow I got them to come and talk to me for an hour, and now you get to listen to it. So All of those are available to you. I'm also still running a $30 off code. It's just the end of year code. I'll probably run it until through January. Why not? So you can come and check out all of my offerings. I do intuitive readings. I do spiritual mentorship, creative consults and membership or mentorship. So lots of stuff available to you. If it's something that you're looking for, I would love to help you make your motherfucking dreams come true. Okay? I love all of you so very much. Have a wonderful, beautiful week. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Love you, mean it.